So I guess I'll say this. It doesn't say too much in this book. I'm going to have to read those charters again of London. But I'm quite sure now, this is what I think, essentially, right? To make it as clear and simple as possible, effectively, right, all the tax money, right, goes to maintain the roads, right, of the country or nation. So they're already paid for. So that's why, there were certain obligations to maintain. People had to maintain certain roads and hedges and things like that. But I think the idea is that the roads are already paid for, right? That's why you don't pay a toll or a charge to pass, because it's already paid for. This is why it's meant to be the King's Peace, right? So you don't get any hassle, or if anyone, like ambushes you or whatever, those are like freeways, basically, because they're already paid for. And the thing is, people pay road tax, right? So a toll is an additional charge, and you cannot pass, you cannot go through, you cannot go on a toll without paying, right? But on these free routes, you can't be charged a toll because they're already part of like a maintained thing, right? So, like, privately owned land, right, can give you if someone's got a bridge or something like that in their land or whatever, they can charge you a toll. Or if it's not on the main free routes, right, like someone, it might be maintained under a shire, right? So let's say Northamptonshire, right, it's not part of the King's main routes. It's under the kind of like looked after by the earls or whatever, or the barons. So like they might charge you a fee. So but the Watling Street runs straight through London, and that's meant to be like a free route. So effectively, so let's try and work this out, right? So if it's already paid for by road tax to maintain it, right, then it's a free route. Okay. Now, this is when I think this is where like you get Khan and some of these judges like Judge Swift or whatever and so forth. I still don't think this has actually been fought out properly in court, right? But so you could call it a ULEZ charge. You could call it you can say, it's another tax on the motorist, but is it a tax? If you don't drive through it, you don't pay it. So it can't be a tax on the motorist. It's a tax on motorists who drive on a certain road, right? So it is an additional tax if you drive on a certain road or not. But that's the thing. If you paid a tax for the roads to be maintained, you already paid for them, right? So it is a fine, isn't it? It is a fine. It's definitely a fine or a payment or a charge. It's like driving over the Severn Bridge or something. The thing with the toll is this. If you define the toll, you cannot, usually they've got a barrier. So if you ain't got the money, they don't let you go. So you can't physically pass on the toll unless you've got the money, right? With the ULEZ, you can physically pass, but they send you the money after. So it's like you're not barred from going on the road, but you still, they take the money from you. It's like if you went over the bridge, basically, right, and there's no barrier on the bridge, but because you've gone over the bridge, then you got to pay the money. They send you the bill, and if you don't pay the bill, they come after you for the money. It's effectively. I think that it is like it's like driving. It's like doing the Dartford crossing, right? The Dartford crossing, but they send you the fee or the fine. Like on the bridge on the Dartford thing, you got to pull up at the booth, or whatever, or if it's a Tyne tunnel or whatever, you chuck the coins in the basket. I ain't been for ages because I haven't been driving for ages, but I used to go into the Tyne tunnel, right? So you go in the Tyne tunnel, right, and you chuck the pound coins in the basket unless you miss, right? If you don't chuck the coins, you can't go through because there's a physical barred. There's a physical barrier, a bar. You're not admitted to the bar, right? But with the ULEZ, you can. There's no bar there. You're not barred, but you get charged. Well, look, right. Effectively, right. If you commit an offence, they charge you. The police charge you. So it's a charge, right? You're not barred, but you're charged. And if you don't pay the money, then they come after you with the law, as if that you had done whatever. But it's for money though, it's not a criminal offence. It's for money, and then if you don't pay it, they come and get your things. So it's like effectively, right? If you drove around the toll booth, right? Let's say if you drive around the toll booth, right? Like, if you ram it straight down with, if you ram straight through the toll booth, right, with a truck or something, right? They're going to come after you for the money. They might probably do you for criminal damage if you ram it down, actually. That's an offence. But, all right, let's say you don't break it. Let's say you don't break the bar, right? Let's say, like, you got a motorbike or something. Let's say you got a motorbike, right, and you go, over the Dartford thing and you go around it. They're going to, I don't know if they'll charge you with an offence of, it's not really fraud, is it? But you owe them money. You owe them money from that point on, right? So they'll send you the bill through. They might try and charge you with an offence as well, but they'll likely probably just say you owe money and then get your address and so forth from your driving licence photo. Effectively, right? I bet if you go through the Dartford crossing without paying, and they film you, they'll send something for your money. They might try and throw another offence on the top as well. I don't know what offence it is, but likely they'll send you a bill through, say like you went through the Dartford crossing, you got to pay this money, and if you don't pay it, they'll come repossess your stuff. So that's the same. It's the same consequence as if you go on the ULEZ, you get sent for money, right? Notice that you can drive on the road. If you paid your road tax, you can drive on the roads, right? Now, if you don't pay a road tax, I think there is a fine. It's not a tax, because if it was a tax, then you would be legally required to pay it to be on the road, wouldn't you? Those roads that you're driving on around the ULEZ, they're already paid for, right? Or else your car won't be allowed on it. It's something else. It's something other. They might say, it's like another tax on the motorist. It's like, it's just another tax on the motorist. No, it's not just another tax on the motorist. You paid your road tax. If the police pull you over and you're not in the ULEZ, it doesn't matter where you are. If you ain't got road tax, then they'll do you, right? But this is, it's different, you paid your road tax, so you got a right to be on the road. I think that this peace thing, this peace grid, you're legally allowed. You see, the thing is, right, what happens, right, so let's say, I know some people have said that you've got like if you've got a non-compliant vehicle on the back of a truck, right? Sometimes it picks up the license plate, but you know it might have like let's say you've got a non-compliant car on the back of a lorry, right? Car transporter, and it's covered up, like got some sort of canvas or whatever over it, right? And then he stops within the ULEZ zone, and you reverse it off, right? And then you park it at the side of the road somewhere where, I mean, and it's hard to find in London, but somewhere where you don't have to pay to park, right? Just like, you know, I don't know, Khan was talking about taxing driveways or whatever. Let's say like there just happens to be somewhere in London that isn't red or double yellows or whatever, like a normal place, if you can get one in London, right? And your car's just parked there, right? You know, there's no like sign or traffic warden or anything like that. It's just like a normal road, like as if you're in, I don't know, like Huntingdon or something, right? Wherever, right? So, and your car's parked there, right? Well, you paid road tax, so you're not going to get charged, are you? So you can be there. So have you got King's Peace there, yeah? So if you've got a car, let's say it's on the A5 somewhere, right, on Watling Street, you know, that's the thing. You know, you got a legal right to be on the road. Well, what road? What road? The thing is, right, look at it this way. Let's look at it this way, right? So, you paid your road tax in England. Have you got a legal right to be on the road? Right? Can you have a non-compliant car that is on the road? Okay, whether it moves or not. You see, these ULEZ cameras, you've got to be moving. It's got to be moving, motion. If you just stop there parked. This is why I think Khan's trying to get into this driveway business now, right? You got a legal right. You paid road tax. You got a legal right to be on the road. I think what Khan's trying to do, really, is if he does this driveway tax and you don't pay it, you haven't got a legal right to be there. But if you've paid road tax in England, you've got a legal right for the car, four wheels, to be on the road, right? Now, what Khan was actually wanting to do, I've worked it out now. What Khan's trying to do is he wants to make it so no one has a legal right to have a vehicle in London. He wants to remove, like, you paid road tax for England, so he wants to make it so no, you don't have a legal right to be on roads in London, even though you paid your road tax in England, when it's actually meant to be the other way around. Of all the places that you have got a legal right to have a car, is in London and on these main route on the A5. On Foss Way, if you paid road tax for England, you got a legal right to be on the road and obviously use it, okay? Except for these other areas that aren't in the main trunk roads of England, which are these King's Peace roads, like, you know, like, I don't know, the Shires or Rumpeninkle Baron's backyard or whatever, with his little toll bridge or whatever. It's private, you know. So what Khan's actually trying to do is he's turned it inside out. He's switched it around, you know. That's effectively what he's done, because London's ended up getting so busy. He doesn't want any vehicles there, but it turns out that is the place where it's already paid for by all of the other taxes. So he's got a problem, and he needs to come to terms with it. Sue Hall was going to scrap the whole thing, with a click of her fingers and refund all the fines. So can this is the thing with Tony Blair as well with congestion charge. Khan's got a problem. Khan is he's in foreign territory. He's almost like on a safari or something. He's out of his depth. He's out of his water. He's like desert dust. He's blown into town, and it's not a desert. That's the thing. Khan needs to get with the laws of this country. Khan needs to Khan, this is the law in England, right? You're breaking it. You're a criminal. I don't care if you've got grey hair, blue hair, pink hair, yellow hair, purple hair with sky blue pink dots on. If you've got, I don't care what his accent is. He's a man who's breaking the law, and that's it. He's a male man who's breaking the law, right? And people are encouraging him. It's like some kind of it's almost like Punch and Judy or something. I don't know whether it's joke or I don't know who these people are in City Hall who are humouring him. It's kind of like the Emperor's New Clothes in a way now. It's sort of like the staff or this whole London Town Hall thing and all these. Just who are all these officials? I mean, Starmer, why are they continuing to do this? Khan, Mayor Khan. It's like, yes, it's like the Emperor's New Clothes. It's like, yes, Khan, you can do this, you can do that. No, you can't do any of it. It's like, how amazing your ULEZ charge is, Mayor, and yes, you can, bring paper mile in and tax people's drives. It's like, it's like saying, there's nothing there. You can't do it. It's illegal. But they're all encouraging him. And at some point, Khan's coach ride is going to turn back into a pumpkin. And that's the truth. It isn't a golden carriage. It isn't a golden mayorship. It's a pumpkin. It's Khan is breaking the law. He's not the mayor of London who is coming up with all these new cutting edge innovations. He's literally a guy breaking the law in a country that he doesn't even know or understand the law properly. And that's the hard fact and truth. If you want to be a mayor in a country where you're trying to make laws up, then make sure you understand the law. It's not enough to have a London accent. Khan's got a London accent, right? But he thinks because he stands like a Londoner, then but he's not. This is the thing, and this is the hard truth. There's no other way going about it. It's a hard reality. Everyone's paid their road tax. They've got a legal right to use the routes through London with the peace, without any hassle, right? And that's how it is. Other areas of, can charge and toll. And I think what they're going to want to do is if you push them on this, they'll probably end up saying, oh, well, what we'll do is pay per mile the whole country, and then not do the congestion charge and the ULEZ, but we'll pay per mile. Everyone else in the country can pay for it. That ain't going to stop people going in London. Might pay for it, might collect more money than people going in London, but they need come up with something that isn't illegal. Think of an idea that's not breaking the law. It's not that difficult to do. You think of an idea that doesn't break the law. Simple. Rather than thinking of ideas that do break the law. And it's Blair's fault. It's Tony Blair's fault. Just they wanted to rake more money in and tax everyone, you know. The road tax has already been paid for in London. I mean, at the end of the day, they should have just put it on tax, you know. It should just go on tax. And if you think, well, some people, not everyone in London has a car, why should they have to pay tax? You know, the motorists. Well, this is the thing. If you ain't got a car, this is I think this is like the final point now, right? This is the final point, right? If you don't have a car, you don't pay road tax because you don't have to pay it legally. If you buy a car, right, you pay road tax. So, you know, so if people don't own a car, then they're not paying for the congestion charge, are they? But then, you know, they use the buses. So, I mean, this is the thing, you know, why shouldn't people who use buses have to contribute towards it? You know, buses are clogging the roads up as well. Motorbikes are, coaches, you know. What about cyclists slowing everyone down? Do they pay any tax on it? Or, you know, these couriers, you know. What about all the cyclists in London? You know, do they pay tax? You know, and it's not just to do with wearing the roads down, maintaining the roads. You know, cyclists are probably causing as much, if not more, of the congestion. You know, cyclists don't wear the road down, okay, but they make it slow. So, you know, what I'd have done if I was Tony Blair, and this might blow people's minds but you know, it's not. It doesn't take much to blow your mind to think that, you know, Blair's a war criminal, because he is a war criminal, and also he's. Let's not forget, Blair has brought in a favour system for sentencing, whereby people get special offers and discounts if they admit they're guilty and give confessions and information over, which is against the judicial oath, which hasn't been changed or removed. So that's another one on Blair. Blair, as far as I'm concerned, Blair is like, Blair is finished, you know. Blair is like the sheriff, you know. I think Blair's probably outdone the Sheriff of Nottingham. If we still had hanging, you know, but we're not hanging people anymore or cutting their ears off or drowning them anymore. But, you know, in modern terms of treasonous activity, without any of these, you know, vicious medieval punishments, Blair's, you know, he's just, you know, Blair is like the model of treason. You know, Blair is the ultimate traitor of the realm. If there's ever a traitor of England, then Tony Blair is, you know, he's outdone every figure in history. You know, because we don't even have violence anymore. But he, when it comes to law, and then the irony is he's a lawyer. You know, but he went to Lincoln's Inn. He hung around with his cronies, and they plotted to. They plotted to subvert the liberties and freedoms of this realm. That is what Blair did. Tony Blair went to Lincoln's Inn, he became a lawyer, he met his wife, and he hung around in legal circles, and they all wanted change, and they plotted to subvert the liberties of the realm, just like, you know, Guy Fawkes plotted to blow up Parliament, and Robert Peel burned Parliament down. Tony Blair, the Queen likely put him up to it because, you know, she repealed half of Magna Carta illegally in 1967, which they need to open Parliament with, and it can't function without it because they have to use all those privileges to open it with, right? So, you know, well, they still do open them with them, so I don't know how they're opening them with them when they're repealed, you know? So Blair is like... You know, he's like, it's like the, you know, Guy Fawkes of, but you know, look at Robert Peel and people like that, you know, when Parliament burned down. So they're anarchists. They're actually, they pretend that they're like famous leaders of the nation, but they're actually anarchists, you know? and Khan is an anarchist as well. You know, anyway, going back to the point, what I would have done is this, right? What I would have done if I was Tony Blair, and he's not going to like this because they want people to ride bikes and keep fit, but, you know, what I would have done is simply, you know, cars wear the road out, but bikes slow everyone down, right? So I would just, you know, I wouldn't have give the congestion charge to motorists. I would have give the congestion charge to cyclists. Now, if you think, well, that's insane, well, it's insane that there are so many cyclists. Well, what do you expect them to do? Well, pay the tax, you know. Well, you know, pay the money. That's what I expect them to do. Pay the money, you know. I expect them to pay the tax, pay the money. You know, bikes should have paid the tax. So the congestion charge should always have been on bikes because bikes are what slow everyone down. And there's so many of them that you know, and well, you know, this is it. And in fact, maybe even walking, I don't know. But, you know, bikes don't wear the road down. They're lucky that they're not getting charged road tax, you know. It doesn't even have to be that much for the bike, you know. In fact, you know, the government, right? You know, like petrol's quite expensive, you know, because it's got tax on top of it. You know, all they needed to do was, you know, tax bike sales in London or something if they can't keep track of who's moving around on the bike, you know, when they sell it, even second hand, you know, or something. And if you say, well, people, you know, people won't buy them or use them, well, maybe they'll walk. You know, you might as well say, well, you know, your bike's keeping fit, but then you make people walk and they keep even more fit, you know, and jog instead. You know, this is it. There are, you know, you could even put, you put coins in the electricity meter. You could even put coins in the pedestrian crossing or something. You know, there are lots of different things you could do. You know, you have to put money in parking meters. You put money in the pedestrian crossing. There are lots of stuff you could do in London. You know, why motorists, when they've already paid the road tax, you know, that is the road. If you've paid, right, money, if you live in an area, right, if you're like, I live in London, this is my home, right, so why the fuck would I be paying road tax for, you know, Luton, you know, Coventry, Penzance, Scotland? Why, if I live in London, right, and I don't really leave London, why the fuck would I be paying my road tax if it wasn't for me to drive on the roads in London? You know, that's the point, I think, at the end of the day. If you live in London and you ain't really going out of London that often, right, you've got a legal right to for the car to be on the road. Now, if you've got a legal right for the car to be there on the road at any point, you know, if you can't move it, what's the point? You don't pay road tax and maintain the roads to just park it there, do you? You know, if you're trying to encourage people not to have cars in London or whatever, Khan's going against the grain. You see, this is the thing, right? London has got roads. Wouldn't it be novel if everyone woke up in the morning and there weren't any roads? There was just like grass. There wasn't like a pavement and a road part. It was just like, can you imagine if you woke up and it was just like there wasn't any tarmac there? You got, like, if you've got a driveway or if you just like live straight on the street or whatever, it was just grass, right, with like daisies or whatever. And there was like people from the council going up and down, cutting it, mowing it, right? So everywhere you just walked or ran or went on a bike. Where are the roads? We don't have any, you know? So you don't pay road tax because there aren't any roads. Well, you know, if you had a car there, how do I get anywhere? It would get really muddy really quick, couldn't it? And then no one would want to drive, everyone gets splattered with mud. This is the thing, right? They've got roads. What are roads for? Vehicles, right? I think Khan thinks he's some sort of like, like Mr. Soft, like on a Spearmint advert, like ripping Mr. Soft, won't you take me to the world in which you're living is so strange, Khan, London's got roads, they're for cars and buses and coaches, that's why we pay road tax. The thing is, why, when they did that Don't Pay UK thing, they did that Don't Pay UK thing, Don't Pay electricity bills. I think Russell Brand did this Don't Pay UK promo, and the girl from Don't Pay UK went on Brand's show, or he mentioned it, and he told everyone not to pay the electricity bills. And then the next day, the Queen had died or something. And I'm like, oh my God, I think Russell Brand just killed the Queen by telling the whole country to not pay their electricity bills or not pay their tax, right? I think it was tax, actually, Well, part of it's tax. There is tax on the top of bills. So, the thing is, not paying these ULEZ charges, why would anyone who lived in London, right, pay road tax? You paid for the legal right to use the road. Notice they can't stop you from using the road. Notice that you paid your road tax, so you've got a legal right to be on the road and kind of use it. There's not like a barrier there, It's not like when you go to the toll booth, there's a bar, you're barred unless you give them money over. They can't notice that, anyone would think that they actually put, can you imagine if the council put if you woke up in the morning and they'd put a barrier on your driveway so you couldn't leave your property, unless you put some money in the barrier to lift it up. Well, what would that money be for? Because you've already paid your road tax and your right to be on the road, okay? So what would you be giving the money for? Because you're in London or within the ULEZ zone. Well, how would you be able to access road tarmac that you'd paid for and got a legal right to use if Khan put a barrier on your driveway so you couldn't leave your driveway? Because then it would be like you hadn't paid any road tax and you didn't have a legal right to be on the road. So I think that's where, for me, that is this King's Peace. You paid tax and you've got a legal right to use the road. And now Khan's reckoning that he's saying that you don't have a well, he can't. I don't think he can. He can't, can he? He can't say you can't. Your vehicle can't be on that bit of road because you paid for it. Now, what have you paid? Have you paid for the use of that road? So he's got a conflict because he's trying to say that he's trying to charge you for using a bit of road that you've already paid for. Now, this is an additional charge or cost, but notice that he can't stop you from using it because he can't. There's no barrier there, right? And if you drive onto that road, there's no police saying you can't go there, you can't go onto it. There's no traffic warden saying you may not pass or whatever. Why? And why is that? Because you've got a legal right to be on there, and because you paid to be on there. So I don't know where he's pulling this from. Clearly, it is a toll because you went into this part that is not covered by your normal road tax now. But this is the thing. On a toll, you got a legal right to be on the road leading up to it and the road leading away from it, but you're not allowed to go through this point unless you had money over. Or if you were to go around it without, not a different way, the same way, but around the barrier, the physical barrier, then they said, right, you owe me a fee, a charge, a fine. So, and that's what it is. So it is a toll. It is a toll because what it is, it's an additional charge, right? Because it's a certain place that they want money for you being in or through. You know, just because the mayor says so. But he's passed this order, right? The ULEZ charge zone with a statutory instrument is created, which he's charging you, making you liable to pay a charge fee or fine for passage when you've already paid for the vehicle as a legal right. There is a legal right to be on and use that road. So he's created like you know, it's like he definitely hasn't taken away your right to be on there. So it's not, it isn't a tax. It's not tax. It isn't tax. It is toll. It's definitely classed as toll.